Today's episode is going to be about this car right behind me, and this is going to be part one in a multi-part series. So stick around for the story on this thing. We're going to start there, get the background of this car out of the way. I know some of you guys know I have this thing and you've been waiting for me to get some wrenches on it, so here it is. Stick around. So let's start with what the car actually is. It's a 28 Model A, Tudor sedan. It was my dad's first car. The reason I have it is because unfortunately my dad passed away, so I inherited the car from him. Let's turn the dial on the time machine way back. Early 70s, Texas. My grandpa was a missionary. They found this car after my dad decided he wanted to buy a golf cart, and my grandpa talked him out of it. And it was either this 28 Model A sedan that was being used as a chicken coop, bullet holes in the sides, all that stuff, or a 53 Corvette, which in hindsight would have been worth a lot more money, but nonetheless this car has a lot of sentimental value to me. It's one of those things that's just going to get passed down. I'm going to give it to my son when I die. So Heirloom Model A. So they find this car, I guess. It was being used as a chicken coop, like I said. Pulled it out of a field, pulled it all apart, got it running, painted it in the backyard. I got pictures I need to dig up of that somewhere. But they got it to kind of run and drive enough to like go in local parades and stuff. And I guess my dad held on to it for as long as he lived, really. I grew up with the thing under a tarp in the garage. It was always tucked in the corner in the back, and I would always say, "What's under that tarp, Dad? Can we see the Model A?" And it was probably one of my first words that I ever learned was Model A, because it was always under a tarp. He had another old car under a tarp, 71 Olds 442 W30, both that came long before me. Both cool cars in their own right, but this thing was always like, this was always it for me. When my dad was about 12, 13 years old, he got this thing running with his dad. And when I turned 12, 13 years old, my curiosity was probably annoying the heck out of him. And he said, "Okay, let's work on the thing." So I'm age 12, 13, we got this thing running. I don't even remember what it was like except for the fact that it just like roared to life and made smoke and smelled like exhaust and like left this real deep impression on me as a 12, 13-year-old boy. We drove it around the neighborhood in the yard kinda just to say we did it, and as it was running it just quit, it died, and we figured out it had no spark, and then it went back under the tarp, tucked in the corner, to live another day. So let's fast forward a little bit in my own life. My family moved out of the home that I grew up in and out into the country. The car came with us. We tucked it in the back of the garage just like we did before. And I was turning 15, 16 now. So I'm starting to learn how to drive. And I thought it would be cool, and so did my dad, if I learned how to drive a stick shift on this very car, which is more akin to driving a tractor than it would be to driving a car. But honestly, I thought it would be the coolest story to tell, and I still think it is. So this car right here was the very first stick shift car I ever drove. Drove it around the neighborhood again, learned the concepts of the clutch and whatnot, and it died again, lost spark, needed a coil. Got put back in the corner of the garage under a tarp for a few more years. Moving forward again, the car ended up being moved from the house that we were in my family downsized. We got rid of storage space and such, so we had the car moved into the shop that my dad owned and that I worked at. I worked as a auto tech for him, family business, for about a decade. And that thing was always in the shop, and I got to look at it every day and eat. We ate lunch right next to it, and it just turned into a giant parts shelf with boxes stacked all over it. And it just kind of got dusty and didn't get touched. And then we sold the business and we needed to get it out of there, so it moved to his friend's house, really nearby the shop, until he ultimately passed away in 2017. And I pulled it out of his friend's barn that it was sitting in, like, immediately, and wanted to get to work on this thing. It was Memorial Day weekend of that year. Me and some friends got it running again and drove it around and drove it to my mom's house and said, hey.
Nice and smooth. Yeah. I'm gonna go down the road.
Thanks.
It was a good thing to do, in honor and in memory of him right after he died. But then, as the car's history showed earlier, it got put in the corner. It sat. I had a 2-stall garage. I brought it home because I thought it would be easier to work on. And I got distracted with newer cars, and I tried to build my own hot rod before he died, and it never worked out. I had too much time and got too distracted with other things, so nothing got done. You've seen it on this channel, the jalopy, which is behind the barn right now. That was my hot rod project before this was mine. As soon as this car was in my possession, the jalopy was way on the back burner, and I started to do things to this car. So originally, bone stock Model A, nothing modified, except for one thing that's really unique about this car, and I'll show you that later. The stuff that me and my dad talked about before he died was, we both agreed that it would be cool to hop it up in a period correct way, 40s hop up, mild bolt-ons, keep the Model A banger engine and all that stuff. Be able to get in it, turn the key, go get ice cream, drive into town to get groceries or whatever. Something that can be used at the ready. So I bought some tires from a friend that were on his Roadster. Those are the front tires on this thing right now. It's got 16-inch wire wheels from a 35 Ford that I've just collected over the years. Rattle can black. I bought a brand new set of bias plies for the rear. It's on 600s in the front and 700s in the rear, I'm pretty sure. I wanted a little bit of a rubber rake, and the shackles and the leaf springs were so worn out. The leaves of the springs were wearing into each other, and the shackles were ovaled out and stuff. So I replaced the front and rear spring with a reverse eye leaf springs from Speedway or whatever. So I started making what could have been period correct, maybe homemade modifications to the car. And if I couldn't buy it or couldn't afford to buy it, I wanted to either learn how to make it or build it. So I knew I wanted to hop this thing up. So I bought some parts, some tubing, some flanges off the internet. So I built myself this little combo intake and exhaust manifold out of tubing, just MIG welded everything. And I put a Ford 94 on the top, and I wanted to just keep it simple. These things don't need a lot of carb. Start with one carb, build a cool sounding split exhaust, Most of this traditional hot rodding, nostalgia hot rodding is more about the looks and sounds and smells and feels than going fast, and that's what I'm into. So I just want to make this thing sound cool. I want to make it run good, keep up, but not get away from itself. And I really I got to do things on a budget. I got a family and I got a mortgage, and you know, most of you guys can relate to that. So now I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do with this thing now and what the next steps are and what you can expect from this series. And this is the car I want to focus on for the most part because it's kind of the only car I need to keep. For starters, I need to pull the radiator, the shell, to swap radiators with the Jalopy because that one has a much nicer radiator. I need to replace the water pump on this car so I can take this water pump and put it on the Jalopy so that one doesn't leak, and this one's new, so I have that. I have to repair the front cross member. Right where the leaf spring, like the crown of the spring goes, is kind of rusted away, and like the locating hole for the pin of the spring pack is like not the right shape. So I got to fix that so that way I can bolt the front end into the car correctly, because right now it's just kind of sitting on the spring. I got to wire some stuff up. I have another set of headlights for this thing on the way, a little bit smaller, something a little more hop up, hot rod style. I would really like to drop the headlight bar, but we'll see. These are like kind of down the road items. My main focus is I want to get this thing drivable on the street. So for now, I'm keeping the mechanical brakes. You can get at me in the comments. So I wanted to just get everything working as is, as much as I can and as much as makes sense, while still having fun and being creative with some of my solutions to problems. But I don't want a 10-year project that never gets finished. I want that like running, driving, moving, do little fun detail stuff as I go, find stuff at swap meets, that sort of thing. And I think we're really close. I just need to put some time in on it and like tie up some loose ends and get some paperwork taken care of. Let's go walk around the car and I'll show you some of the details and the fun stuff and the weird stuff about this car. Okay, I got the camera in my hand. I'm gonna walk and talk. Let's start with the most unique part about this car. I've been teasing at it. This is the rear door. And yes, it's a Tudor sedan, but it has a rear door. So let me open this thing up for you a minute. I'm trying to get back far enough, but I'll try to show it. It's like a coach-built thing that somebody cut the back out of this thing and made it work like a sedan delivery, but I've never seen another one like this. The seat cushion is attached to the rear. There's a seat cushion there, and it's all just like hammered over, nailed back, but the way the door opens isn't like any of the kits that were out there because they hinge from the other side. So if anybody knows anything about this stuff, please get a hold of me in the comments and let's figure it out. But no interior in the car except for what's upholstered on the seats and the door panels, which was done by my grandpa on a sewing machine. And I don't know if I can ever change that, but depending if it becomes a real like driver car, I might want to be a little bit more comfortable in here. All right, so yeah, everything up here is original stock style. I repainted this dash bar because it was unpainted. And some of this stuff has just been this way since I was a kid and probably since my dad was a kid. So I want to try and leave as much in place as what makes sense to keep the car feeling the same for me, because it's got so much sentimental value in it. Let's hop out. The fenders. This is a fender I picked up with my buddy, the same guy who sold me his front tires right here. But I only got one and it's the right rear. But this car had these rusty old fenders that were never on it, and it always looked funny to me to not have fenders on it. But anyway, we got fenders. Front fenders were always on, and there's some pretty nice looking old paint under here, under all this dust. But it has like it's definitely vintage, so I want to keep it that way. This grill shell is almost too good to not leave on it because of how bad it is, but I have a slightly better one here that I want to use. I'll probably hang this one on the wall, and if I like it better on the car, I'll put it back. But like I was saying, I'd like to drop this headlight bar. The headlights I'm getting are a little bit smaller. They're 7-inch sealed beam lights, and if they sat a little lower, I think that would be a very cool hot rod feel to the front of the car. There's the inspection sticker, Texas 1973. Original Cowell gas tank. I want to keep it that way if I can help it. But this gives you an idea of what I got here. 16-inch wires, 600s in the front, 700s in the back. I didn't want too much of a big and little look on this thing because I kind of want to keep it like early post-war, late pre-war, if you can kind of figure out what years those are. They had to move the tail light because of what I assume the door. This is one of those rusty fenders I just rattle canned with some satin black. It might have even been like barbecue grill paint, but just to get it black. And honestly, it might just stay that way if I can't find another fender, but that's okay. Needs a visor, got that coming. So let's hop under the hood and I'll talk a little bit about that. So, stock banger, unknown, very old, probably was seized when they got it, but it runs. Potential evidence of some head gasket leakage, but I've never had this thing running for long enough to really know what's wrong or if it's okay or whatever. I just know that it runs. I built this setup, this intake and exhaust manifold. It's all welded to the same flange. I just bought the parts, the flanges, and got going with the welder. But I need to build an exhaust, and I think I'm going to try to run either 2 into 1 or run 2 pipes and just put them out the side of the running board right there in front of the rear tire. Ford 94 carb, same guy who sold me the tires, found me the fender and the radiator that's going on this thing. This is all right, doesn't leak, but the other one looks nicer, so we'll see. But yeah, anyway, built this throttle linkage. It works. I'm trying to run gravity-fed fuel from the tank to the carb. It might be not a big enough drop, but I'm willing to try it out. Over here on the floor is my fuel system that I built for the car on an earlier video, which is definitely worth a watch because that's when I got this thing to start and run with this induction and exhaust setup on it. And that was kind of a big moment in this car's story for me. So please go check that out. I'll link it in the corner or in the description down below. But yeah, so kind of giving you a little overview on the car, a little closer look, a little bit of a different thing than me just talking to the camera. This is my 1928 Model A Tudor sedan with a back door. 40s mild hop up. So part 1, this is going to be it, but I just wanted to do a little overview of the car, show you guys what it is, what kind of shape it's in, talk about my plans, and from here I will continue to execute my plan. As now the car behind me, the 41 Chevy Coupe you guys have been seeing on this channel for a while, about a year, has now been sold and is going to its new owner very soon. He lives really close by to me, so if I need to, I can keep tabs on the car. Anyway, that's beside the point. Thanks for watching this. If you want to buy some cool merch with Hard Luck Media on it, check out hardluckmedia.com. Keep your eye on my Instagram at hardluckmedia with underscores between the words. I think I'm going to start doing a little podcasting and it'll be on YouTube. It'll be a video podcast. So I'm just trying to talk to other young guys doing the same stuff. So keep your eyes peeled on that. Yeah, just stay in the loop because things are happening around here. So don't go anywhere. Hit subscribe. Be here for the next thing. Adios.